Hello, my kindred friend. Have you ever felt exhausted from waiting for something that never arrives? Or felt helpless because things have slipped through your fingers, leaving you unable to control them? Amidst the agitations of life, we often busy ourselves searching for peace in far-off places, forgetting that the shortest path back home begins with learning to let go of the stubborn attachments within our hearts. In the profound wisdom of the Buddha, every loss or unmet desire is a sacred invitation for you to rediscover the true nature of freedom. Today, let us quiet our hearts to understand a great secret: why, when you stop struggling to steer so strictly, life will automatically carry you to your most peaceful harbor. Letting go and wisdom regarding impermanence. Imagine you are cradling a beautiful porcelain cup in your palm. You cherish every exquisite line and live in constant fear that one day you might accidentally let it shatter. A great Zen master once held up his favorite cup and told those around him a shocking sentence: "To me, this cup is already broken." This statement might sound strange and paradoxical at first, but it contains a profound wisdom regarding the universal law of impermanence. Because he understands that the cup will eventually return to dust, the master can fully enjoy its beauty right now without carrying any weight or fear of future loss. Many of us mistakenly believe that letting go is an attitude of coldness or indifferent apathy toward life. But the reality is quite the opposite. Letting go is the pinnacle of empathy, where you dare to cherish a figure, a memory, or an achievement without trying to possess them or forcing them to stand still according to your will. Suffering does not stem from the changes of the world, but from the tight grip of your mind all this time. We are weary because we constantly cling to old images of the past, unrealistic expectations of others, and illusions of eternity. When you courageously accept that all existence is a ceaselessly changing flow, you will find your soul becoming weightless and vast like the boundless sky. You will learn how to love most deeply, while still remaining willing to open your hands, allowing all karmic conditions to freely come and go in your most complete serenity. The art of accepting reality and internal liberation. Have you ever wondered why, when faced with the same adversity, some walk through calmly, while others completely shatter in despair? The secret lies not in the magnitude of the difficulty, but in the degree of your mind's resistance to what is happening right in this moment. Imagine standing before the fierce waves of the vast ocean. If you strain yourself to push back that wave, you will quickly become exhausted and be mercilessly drowned by the power of the water. But if you accept its presence and skillfully dive deep beneath the wave, you will find a miraculous space of stillness right in the heart of the agitated sea. A wise master once led his sorrowful disciple to the shore and told him to observe the rhythm of the water. The master said, "The wave is never at fault when it crashes onto the shore, according to the laws of heaven and earth. The fault lies in your desire for the sand to always remain flat and dry, according to your subjective will. It is the very effort to want reality to be different that serves as the direct seed, nurturing all the acute suffering that has been suffocating your nervous system." Many of us confuse acceptance with cowardly resignation. However, in the wisdom of healing, accepting reality is a courageous act of the wisest person on earth. Resignation is when you bow your head helplessly and let life drift you away in weary resentment. Acceptance is when you open your eyes wide to look directly at the truth and say, "Yes, this is actually happening, and I acknowledge its presence without any judgment." Imagine you are an archer aiming at a target. You can strive with all your might to focus, keep your arms steady, and adjust your posture to be as perfect as possible. But the moment the arrow leaves the string, It belongs entirely to conditions beyond your control, such as a sudden gust of wind or a blinding ray of sunlight. The most talented archer is the one who puts forth his best effort, but still smiles calmly, regardless of where the arrow lands. For he understands that agonizing afterward cannot bring the arrow back. It only makes his hands tremble for the next shots of his life. I invite you to make a great shift in your inner dialogue right now. Instead of brooding over the question, "Why did this terrible thing happen to me?" try switching to a gentler, more tolerant question, "What lesson is this event trying to teach me so that I may grow?" Or, "How is this adversity helping me recognize a latent strength that I have accidentally forgotten in my haste?" When you stop warring with reality, you are giving your body a priceless gift of absolute safety. Your nervous system will no longer have to be in a state of constant red alert, and the flow of self-healing vitality will begin to be unlocked most radiantly. Accepting reality is the sacred bridge leading you out of the cage of melancholy into the space of true freedom, where you are no longer a victim of circumstances, but the master of your internal peace. Remember this profound truth as you enter deep sleep each night. True peace only sprouts when you stop trying to bend the river of life according to the narrow will of a weary ego. Faith in the flow and the process of life. During the long days of waiting for a result that never seems to arrive, your mind easily falls into doubt and resentment, questioning why good things haven't found you yet. Perhaps you are watching those around you achieve one success after another, and secretly wondering if the universe is forgetting you. There is a poignant ancient story about an old horse breeder in a remote frontier. One day, his only horse ran away into the deep forest. Neighbors came to offer condolences, calling it bad luck, but the old man simply replied, "Who knows if it is a blessing or a curse?" A few days later, the horse returned, leading a herd of powerful wild horses. Neighbors came to congratulate him on his great luck, but the old man still smiled and said, "Who knows if it is a blessing or a curse?" When his son rode a wild horse and fell, breaking his leg, the neighbors sighed at the misfortune. But then war broke out, and all young men were drafted except for his son with the crippled leg. Only then did people realize that what they called misfortune was actually the most sacred blessing to preserve his family's life. The lesson of the turning wheel of karma reminds you that human vision is inherently very narrow, and we are often too quick to label an event as good or bad the moment it manifests in reality. It is just like the journey of a small butterfly inside a cramped cocoon. If a person, out of impatient compassion, uses scissors to cut the cocoon shell to help the butterfly escape faster, that butterfly will forever have a weak form with withered wings and can never fly high. It is precisely the struggling effort to squeeze through the narrow opening of the cocoon that provides the necessary pressure to push life force from the body into the wings, making them sturdy and radiant under the sun. Healing and true achievements in your life follow a similar sacred rhythm. Sometimes the fact that you must wait a little longer or undergo harsher hardships than others is not a sign of abandonment. It is actually the universe tempering the wings of your soul to be strong enough to embrace the vast horizons ahead. Learn to trust absolutely in the process of life, instead of trying to rearrange the flow of destiny according to the weary will of the ego. True peace arises when you realize that everything does not need to happen according to your exact schedule for it to be perfect. What belongs to you will certainly find its way to you at the exact moment when your soul is truly ready to receive it. Impatience only blurs the beauty of the present and creates more barriers to the self-healing vitality flowing within you. Anchor this profound truth in your consciousness. Every day, the universe is never late. Conditions simply need more space for everything to bloom in the most complete and pristine way, right in your own life. Meditation stills the mind to see clearly. Imagine a glass of water that has been stirred vigorously, causing the dust at the bottom to rise and make the water murky. If you impatiently use your hand to brush away the dust or a spoon to filter it, the surface will only become more chaotic and cloudy. The only way for the water to become clear again is to set the glass down and let the dust settle naturally. Your consciousness is exactly the same. After the storms of making a living and the intense agitations of anxiety, what your body and soul truly crave is not more complex thinking techniques, but a space of absolute stillness so that all worries can subside on their own. Meditation is not an effort to force the mind to stop thinking or a requirement to reach some distant mystical state. Meditation is the art of returning so that you can truly be present and listen to the mindful breath of your own form right now. Modern science has proven that when you allow yourself to sit still in silence, the brain automatically switches to a deep recovery state, soothing the parasympathetic nervous system and increasing the healing energy for every weary cell. Meditation is the moment you temporarily set aside the role of life manager or repairman to return to being a pure living entity enveloped in the arms of the sacred present. I invite you to perform a simple practice right now. Close your eyes, relax your shoulders, and bring your awareness to the rising and falling rhythm of your breath in your chest. Inhale and feel life flowing. Exhale and send a deep gratitude to this physical form for persistently carrying all hardships with you over the decades. With every exhalation, imagine you are loosening the knots of anxiety and letting all unfinished plans dissolve completely into the quiet space of the night. Please do not worry if your mind still leaps like a monkey, as that is completely natural and nothing is wrong. Healing does not begin with perfection. It sprouts from tolerance toward even the agitations within one's own consciousness. If you just set aside precious moments to quietly listen to your breath, you will miraculously find your life becoming as clear and bright as a still lake in the middle of the night. The art of letting go of control to exist freely. Observe your hand when you are trying to hold on to something you fear losing. That hand contracts, tightens, and hurts. Your mind, for a long time, has been in the same state of clenching regarding your life. We often live with an instinctive fear of tomorrow's uncertainty, so we struggle to steer strictly for every present moment. You worry about what others think of you. You fear that plans won't come true, and you pour all your energy into molding every condition according to your subjective desire. But dear friend, understand a profound truth. Control is actually an illusion woven from fear. For in this world, nothing is fixed for you to hold completely in the palm of your hand. There is a wise, metaphorical story about a man who accidentally slipped and fell into an abyss in the middle of a dark night. In desperate panic, he luckily caught a small branch protruding from the cliff and clung to it with all his remaining strength. Throughout the long night, he strained to endure the bone-chilling cold and the ultimate fear of approaching death. He did not dare let go, believing that branch was his only savior keeping him alive. But when the dawn broke and the mist cleared, he was astonished to realize that his feet were actually less than a span away from the solid ground. It was the weary effort of clinging that caused him the most pain, not the abyss. Your life is sometimes exactly like that. The things you are trying to control and cling to are actually small branches, making the hands of your soul bleed. Letting go is absolutely not a cowardly attitude of giving up or irresponsible abandonment. Letting go is the act of a sharp wisdom when you realize that trying to steer a fast-flowing river is a futile effort that only consumes your self-healing vitality. Imagine your life as a vast river that always carries a miraculous intelligence to take you where you need to go. When you dare to let go of the old bank and accept floating with the current, you will find yourself suddenly becoming immensely powerful because you have merged with the rhythm of the universe. True peace arises at the exact moment you perform your part with all your devotion, and then bravely smile at whatever results karma brings. You still sow seeds, but no longer impatiently pull the sprouts to grow faster. You still love, but no longer have the need to possess the one you love. And you still live fully but absolutely no longer war with what is happening in this moment. When you stop playing the strict manager for the night, that is when the door to true rebirth is opened wide, helping your consciousness become vast and your breath become light like a mist floating freely in the boundless sky. Compassion and reconciliation within consciousness. Try listening to the most private whispers you usually say to yourself every quiet night. Isn't that voice sometimes more rigorous and cruel than the most bitter judgments from the world outside? We often unintentionally become the strictest judges toward ourselves. We agonize over old mistakes, blame ourselves for our flaws, and always carry a sense of guilt that we are not good enough or do not deserve to receive good things. There is a profound story about a person who lived his whole life in the shadow of damaged self-esteem. That person always looked in the mirror and only saw the scars of failure. Every step was heavy because his heart was full of insults directed at himself. But dear friend, in the Buddha's wisdom, true healing absolutely cannot sprout from punishment or self-hatred. Healing can only begin when you are brave enough to give yourself an embrace of unconditional compassion. I want you to understand a deep truth. Compassion for oneself is not selfish, indulgence, or a permissive attitude toward bad habits. It is actually a great type of wisdom that helps you see through your own suffering with the compassionate eyes of a gentle mother soothing a weary child. When you accept that you are an imperfect human with wounds that need care, you are beginning to dismantle the chains of judgment that have been suffocating your nervous system. Buddhism calls this practice metta bhavana, or the cultivation of loving kindness, where you send the most wholesome wishes to every one of your cells. Try whispering slowly. May I be peaceful. May I be liberated from acute fears, and may I love myself just as I am. These vibrations of self-love are the most miraculous medicine to mend all the deepest broken pieces inside your soul. The power of compassion does not stop at individual borders. It needs to be expanded vastly to the relationships around you. Resentment toward others is actually a heavy anchor, dragging your ship of peace down to the bottom of the ocean of despair. Imagine holding on to hatred in your heart, like having to carry a heavy bag of stones on your shoulders every day. The person who hurt you may have gone far away long ago, but you are the one volunteering to hold those stones and forcing yourself to endure their weight every present moment. Another classic metaphor that masters often remind us of is that nurturing anger is like trying to hold a red-hot coal with bare hands to throw at someone else. You might not have harmed them yet, but surely the first and most pained person to be burned is you. Letting go of resentment does not mean you agree with someone else's wrongdoing. It is an act of great compassion for you to liberate yourself from the prison of bitterness. When you dare to pour out the bag of stones and drop the hot coal, your hands become empty to receive the warmth of radiant life. I invite you to perform a sacred reconciliation right now by sending a message of complete forgiveness. Look at those who have made you suffer with eyes of understanding, that they too are sentient beings, lost in the maze of their own fear and lack of love. When the compassion within you is large enough to encompass even enemies, you will find yourself becoming peerlessly unchangeable, as no arrow of hatred can pierce the shield of radiant compassion. Patiently nourish this warm flow every day so that your heart remains soft and tolerant. Because only when you are in harmony with yourself and the world around you does true healing reach the pinnacle of absolute wholeness and peace. Integrating wisdom into every breath to start a new life. We have traveled a long journey of awareness together, and perhaps your mind is now secretly wondering how to bring these profound insights into a life full of bustle and fluctuations. There is a sacred story about a disciple who traveled far to find an eminent Zen master to ask about the change in the soul after achieving full awakening. The master simply smiled gently and answered, "Before awakening, I carry water and chop wood. After awakening, I still carry water and chop wood." That simple answer contains a great secret of the most sustainable healing. Absolute peace does not lie in trying to change what you do or running away from reality, but in how you are present with the most ordinary tasks, with a completely empty and still mind. True healing is not a glorious event that happens once and disappears. It is a mindful lifestyle where you learn to integrate these golden rules into your every breath and every daily step. Tonight, before you truly dissolve into a deep, dreamless sleep, I invite you to weave these threads of wisdom into a shield protecting the temple of your body and mind amidst a world full of storms. Start your new day by recognizing the law of impermanence, so you can cherish the cup of life without fearing the day it shatters. Practice complete acceptance so you stop warring with the waves of reality and find the space of stillness right in the heart of the agitated ocean. Patiently nourish faith in the miraculous process of the universe to understand that every delay or every time you must wait is a sacred condition tempering the wings of your soul to be more steadfast. Give yourself moments of meditation every day so that the dust of anxiety can naturally settle and the lake of your consciousness remains crystal clear and radiant. I hope you courageously let go of the illusory control panel of strict management so that the boat of your life can freely float along the gentle current of cause and effect. Above all, always warm this physical form with the fire of unconditional compassion for yourself and all sentient beings around you. Absolute wholeness never sprouts from punishment or judgment. It can only bloom radiantly in an atmosphere of understanding and the deepest self-tolerance. You do not need to try to be perfect because you are already a miraculous entity in the process of returning to your original pure nature. If the quiet space tonight has brought you relief and helped your soul shed nameless burdens, I am honored to invite you to sow a good seed by subscribing to the Daily Dharma Light channel and hitting the like button for the video so that we can spread the light of compassion to even more people. To truly seal this peace into the deep layers of your subconscious, I invite you to perform a final ritual of confirmation by leaving a sincere comment. I trust in the process of life. That affirmation will be a solid anchor, helping you always maintain leisure and remain unchangeable before the fluctuations of the weary struggle for a living out there. Thank you for allowing me to accompany you on this blessed journey home. May you always be healthy in body and peaceful in mind. And may every step you take bloom with the lotus of peace and freedom amidst a changing world. I wish you a very peaceful night in the tolerant arms of the universe. May your body and mind be at peace. Goodbye, and see you in the next journeys of awakening.